You're listening to Empowered to Lead, the Therapist Practice. I'm Lisa Catello, therapist, business coach, and your go-to for all things leadership and sustainable practice growth. This is your space for real talk, smart strategies, and grounded support to help you lead with confidence, work with intention, and build a business that actually works for you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Empowered to Lead, the Therapist Practice. Today, we are going to be talking about what your purpose is, why you are doing this group practice thing, and identifying your core values. One of the reasons why I think that this is really important is because a lot of times when I'm working with people who have started a group practice, they call themselves an accidental group practice owner. So their caseload has gotten full, they've brought people on, but they're not actually sure why they're doing this, what the goal is, where they're trying to head. And so you start to flounder, you start to kind of go, what are we doing? And it can lead to confusion for you and your team, and it can lead to a lack of fulfillment. So whether you are starting a group practice or you've had something going for a while, we want to come back to your why and your what. Let me share with you a pretty vulnerable or real example. I was doing some business coaching for myself recently, and he started out our session with why are you doing this and what do you want? And I could identify the why. I started Group Practice Network. I started coaching because I wanted to support people who were doing a group practice. I wanted people to avoid some of the pitfalls that I have. And primarily, I wanted to have connection and to know that I'm not alone, but also to help other people have community. That was easy. And then it came to what? What are you trying to do? What are your goals? What are you trying to offer? And I stumbled. I actually started to feel a little bit overwhelmed in there because I actually don't know. And in that moment, I felt like I don't know what I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to offer. I've got all these things. I've got all these offers that I want to try because they sound great. But do they line up with who I am and what I'm trying to do? Or do they line up with what I want for my business and from my business? And I start almost every coaching session with, what is your why and what are you doing? Where are you going? So it was overwhelming. It was humbling, and also just highlighted how important it is to identify that and to have something to come back to check out against as you are going through your group practice. Okay, so how do you discover your why and your what? And what does that actually mean when you say that? So some of my example might help you clarify, and you might already know some of this, but let's talk about the why. The why of starting a business bigger than just yourself. Why do you want a team around you? What is your purpose? What is your drive? What is your motivation for having a group practice, for having a team around you? So that is your why. It keeps you going. It helps you when you're feeling a little bit down or struggling or trying to make a decision, coming back to, why did I start this? Your what is, what are some tangible actions, or what is my mission that represents my process? So have you identified your mission and your values, your vision for your group practice? Identifying that really serves as, clarity in where are we going with this. So whether you are starting a new venture or you're expanding, you've got some offerings that you could be providing, coming back to this, laying it out, having it scripted already is really important to have as a marker. I want to just kind of come to an example of somebody that has clearly identified their why and their what, because they knew exactly why they wanted a group practice. So Tara Monroe. She is on Vancouver Island. She has lived in Sooke, a small community, I think forever. I'll have to clarify that with her. But if you meet Tara, you will know what her why is for her group practice. She is so passionate about it. It has shaped everything that she has done for her group practice, and in some ways has kind of eclipsed taking care of her sometimes, or there has been shiny object syndrome. So it hasn't been perfect. But when you ask her what her why is, it is to provide opportunities for mental health, wellness, and support in the Sooke area. So that defines everything that she does. She has built a large clinic in Sooke. She expanded to an extra location because that served the people of her area. She has started a foundation because she's identified that there are people that need some extra financial support in her area. And so she's in the process of creating options for that to happen. She's starting to look at building a center in there. And all of that is, how do we serve the community of Sooke? So everything that she considers as what is an option for moving forward, do I want to get larger? Do I want to have multiple sites? It all comes back to, how does it serve the city of Sooke? So you may not have as lofty of why. Everybody's why looks different. So some people are, my why is because I want passive income. My why is because I have a large wait list and I want to serve these clients well. Another group practice owner that I work with, her why is because she wants everybody to know about how impactful lifespan integration is. And so she wants a clinic that specifically focuses on that offering. So when you are considering, what is my why, or what is my what, where am I going? I want to give you a couple of questions to consider. So maybe write them down, journal on them later, or as you're driving or walking, pause after each of these questions and consider your answer. What do you love so much that it drives every decision that you make? What drives you crazy when it doesn't work the way you envisioned it? That could be missed client care, connecting with team members, your business taking more time than you want. What drives you crazy when it doesn't work the way you envisioned it? Did your caseload fill up and you had people on a wait list? What does that tell you about why you wanted to start this? So again, take a moment. Maybe you paused while you were on your walk. Think about your answers to this. This is going to start to help you identify your why and your what. And then I want you to spend some time thinking about your core values. And this is something that can be hard to name a lot of times. Like, whether I'm working with clinical clients or group practice owners, really sitting down and going, what are my core values? And then how does that translate into what my core values are for my business? Want to spend some time doing that. So when you are starting up, you want to look at the options, like, what are core values? What could they be? Here's some examples of some core values that I have identified through working with other group practice owners and myself. And I have a checklist for this in the group practice connection and in coaching that we do. But this is just a quick touch on what some core values might be for you. Loyalty, growth mindset, empowering women, providing customer service that goes beyond and above, collaboration, to serve as many people as possible, to work ethically, both as clients, serving our clients, and also in serving my therapists, have high ethical guidelines. I value free time. I value the opportunity to take vacation. I want to champion human rights. I want to give back to the community financially. I value serving underserved populations. I want to have a holistic approach in our modalities and who we serve and how we serve. I want to have diversity in my team and how we show up, in who we serve, what that might look like. So I would encourage you again to identify maybe your top 10 to 15 core values, what they might be, list them all. And if you need help, again, I can provide you with a list. There's an exercise that I had used in school that had like 100 core values. Go through them, list them all, and then come back and narrow that down to the top 10 or 15. And then I'm really going to challenge you to narrow that down to 5. Really, when you think of how do I identify who I am and what I'm doing and who I want to bring onto my team, what our business is doing, if you have more than 5, that's way too many. So narrow that down, be clear in what you are about and what you're wanting to provide. And then how do you make sure that you're in alignment with that as you grow? So we start with a business blueprint, and everything that we do in the Group Practice Network at the very beginning is let's create a business blueprint. I would call it a business plan, but most people's eyes glaze over when we do that. But having that blueprint identifies who we are, what we're doing, and then I can come back to it. So each week that I have CEO time, I'm going back and looking at these again. What are my core values? What is it that we're doing? Maybe you have a journal where you list your core values at the beginning of the year, and then each quarter you come back and check in on them. One of the things that I do quite regularly with my team is when I'm doing the interview process, the core values are listed in our listing, in the job posting. And then as we are asking our questions, we're aligning those with the core values. When we do the onboarding, we actually slow down and go, here are the top core values for our group practice. And this is how it shows up for you as a therapist or for your admin. And then we talk about them in our team meetings. So usually annually, we're revisiting those things and then asking, how are we lining up with those core values? Are they still important? Are they still in alignment with who we are and what we're wanting to offer? So consider writing some of those down. List, if you can get down to 5 core values, if you can even get that down to 3 core values, and then maybe even reflect on how these have guided your past decisions. That could be to start a group practice or to expand it. And then consider how you might start to use that to shape your future goals. What's that going to look like? Or how would you like to come back and use your core values, knowing what your why is and what it is that you're wanting to grow and build here, and touch base with that as you expand and grow and provide new offerings. You want to come down to having a clear purpose matters. You want to identify your core values so that they help show to identify what your blueprint is for success within yourself as a leader and within your group practice. And then we're going to use some of that as we go into our next episode. I want you to come back because we're going to use this, our core values, our why and our what, to really check in with who do we want to be attracting, both our clients and our therapists, identifying your ideal client and your ideal therapist. So as we wrap up, I would love to hear what your why is and what your what is. And as you're working through your core values, I would love to hear how was that process to narrow that down to your top 5 or maybe even 3. You can shoot me a message on social media. I'm on Instagram as @GroupPracticeNetwork, or you can send me an email at lisa@grouppracticenetwork.ca. And in the meantime, thank you for tuning in. Just a reminder that finding your why and aligning with your core values is an ongoing journey. This is not a one and done type of thing. And it's exciting. It's fun to go back and check on, and crucial. It's so important for as you grow. So I'd love it if you would give our show a like and a follow and share this episode with somebody that you think could help or could use a pause, reset. What is your why? What is your what? What are your core values telling you about where you want to be going? See you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me on Empowered to Lead, the therapist practice. I hope you're walking away with something that you can put into action, because leadership isn't about doing more, it's about leading with purpose. If you're ready for deeper support, I'd love to see you inside the Group Practice Connection, my monthly membership where Canadian therapists like you get coaching, community, and the tools to build a business that actually supports your life. You can check it out at grouppracticenetwork.ca. The link's in the show notes. And hey, don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss what's coming next. We're building something great here, and I'm so glad you're a part of it.